Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. I'm here with Graham because we're here to talk about some TFL update news. So if you haven't checked out the other video, go ahead and click. I'm pretty sure it's right up here. For the first video about the announcement of the TFL, we're just going to go over some of the stuff that was in the handbook, some of the blurbs and all the jargon and stuff.
This is a bit for athletes, but athletes have already been drafted, but there will be a second year. But it's also for those of you who are just kind of interested in the guts and operations of what is a brand new professional league.
We just had a team meeting with everybody pretty much. We had 3 of them because it was basically over Zoom, just introducing Kevin Stevenson, which is basically starter of this whole thing. And he was just kind of going over the contracts and the handbook, just general information about it.
Yeah, it was Zoom and Teams, and you know how those meetings can be, but there a lot of good information was exchanged. But
yeah, he was sitting there listening in because it was 8:30 Central Time, which was 9:30 my time, and I didn't get off the meeting until 11:30 at night, so it was a long day. So money, everybody wants to know where money, how we're getting paid and all that stuff. Private donors. That's how we're getting paid. So it was companies last year that invested money. Once we couldn't get 8 teams, we only have 4. They kind of dropped out, and we got private investors, people who I'm pretty sure who enjoy track and want to try and start track here in the US to get a professional league. So basically, we're going to be getting paid, compensated for our time. We're going to get travel, which we'll get into. I have a whole list of notes and everything. So also another big thing is that coaches will be compensated, which is great because they're just a part of the team and everything as everyone else. Sorry that husbands and spouses don't get paid.
No, we don't. We do a bunch of work. We don't get paid, but that's part of that.
Your emotional support.
That's part of any relationship.
So yeah, coaches will be getting paid, which is pretty big. I'm pretty pumped about that one because my coach is doing it out of graciousness of his heart right now, but he does also enjoy track, and we've been working together for a very long time. So right,
and you are an Olympian, so that's kind of a big deal to be coaching one of them.
Next, funding. We touched a little bit about this in the other video. There were originally supposed to be 8 teams, and now there's 4. And they actually had another draft a couple weeks ago where they took more people in to fill out the rest of the teams for 4. So the hope is still 8 teams.
that would be 4 and 4, 8 teams. The hope is for 8 teams. Oh. There's only 4 right now, but hopefully once things start getting going and more people get aware of it, start watching our YouTube channel, your YouTube channel, then there will be more athletes interested, and they'll be able to expand it out into the full 8 teams.
Yes. Scoring, dual meet. If you don't know what a dual meet is, 2 teams compete against each other. The scoring is 5, 3, 2, 1. So if you're first place, you get 5. If you're last place, you get 1 point. Pretty simple, 5, 3, 2, 1 scoring points if you know anything about dual system. So basically, there's going to be 2 and 2 meets. There's going to be 2 meets in a day. There's going to be 1 in the morning and then one right after that because they're only 2 hours a piece. I was really pumped when they were oh, you don't have to be at a track meet all day. So next, we got uniforms. Will there be uniforms? Yes. They're a little bit behind on things right now because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of moving parts, but the goal is to have uniforms before the first meet. And actually the first meet that we'll have to go on, and I will bring you with me, is December 17th. That is the first meet. Everyone is going to be there. If they can make it, everyone's going to be there. We're going to be doing USADA presentations and just going over general stuff about it and getting ring sizes, everything. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on that weekend. It's a HEP and DEC meet, so I won't be competing.
Right, yeah. So they've set it up to be that they've got the multis actually competing, but they're also bringing everyone together as a whole league to do all sorts of meetings and stuff. There's they're recruiting for committees, and they're recruiting for this, that, and the other things. So there's going to be, like I said, you saw a presentation and everything else.
Yeah. So next up is travel. How are we getting to the meets? Usually I have to do my own, which I will still have to do that, but there is a nice catch to it where they're partnering with American Airlines, so we'll basically have our own account number, and we'll just schedule our own flight, and it's paid for. So it'll come out of that account that they have set up there. So that's really nice.
One thing I really appreciate as someone who's worked in a lot of business communities, the founder said that to him, reimbursement is a 4-letter word. But this is going to be great. No more juggling paperwork and everything else. Just they pay for it. You fly. You get there.
Next up, we got hotels. They're partnering with IHG, which is like a parent companies, or basically they have hotels like Holiday Inn Express, Holiday Inn, and like Indigo, like that type of like hotel is suites.
Candlewood is suites, international hotels, and then what's exciting for me is that you can have whoever you want in your room. So on the meets that I'm able to attend with Felicia, I will be able to stay with Felicia instead of having to like find somewhere else or sleep under a bush or whatever else.
So basically we get our own rooms, which was really exciting because with everything he said going on with the world, Rona still here, we basically get our own rooms, so you can have your family stay with you, which is great if they can come to the meet. So that'd be awesome, because basically, a little side note, I'll go on a little story. I've had really good roommates. I had really bad roommates, especially traveling overseas. This past meet, I had a really good roommate. Rachel, you're a really good roommate. Brittany Smith, also another really good roommate. Like I said, I've had really good roommates. It's usually when I'm traveling overseas, and it's like no knock to like the foreigners that we have to stay with. We're foreigners to them as well. It's when you have to communicate. I've had roommates that were foreigners and we couldn't communicate, which was fine. We'll just kind of like pantomime. But the worst meet I've had, if you listen to the podcast, link down below, was when I was in Italy, or like somewhere in like Italy, or one of those two meets. Worst travel experience I ever had. I finally get to the hotel after like basically 24 hours of travel, and my roommate, who was a small distance runner, took the biggest bed, and I had to sleep on a cot, and I was like, I'm done. So yeah, it's a luxury of having your own room, like as an athlete, because you're usually having to stay with another person, so that you get like your own space and stuff like that. So that's nice. Another thing people were asking was outside competition, because USATF still exists and there's other meets, like you could still compete, like train at a college. If you can compete like with them, yes, you can. You don't have to tell them, as long as it's not on the same weekend, you have to give them at least 30 days notice, because again, they want people to compete in this league. And they've basically worked around USATF's schedule and everything to try and make sure it's not interfering with like the major competitions to make teams and stuff this year. Yeah, I think they did a really good job with that.
And their competitions count for world numbers.
Yes,
so
they finally worked with, I think it was like one of the world organizations, trying to make it a gold, which counts towards your world ranking. So competing in this meets actually helps your world ranking.
Right. Community service. Not entirely clear what precisely that'll be yet, but I'm assuming this will be like when NBA players and NFL players do their food pantries, or they do their demo programs, or they do activities out in the community. You're required to do 2 of them. Important for me is spectators.
Yeah, this is like Graham's territory. I'm going to already be there, so this is the Graham's thing.
Yeah, they're gonna. It's gonna be a professional sporting event. You buy tickets, you show up with tickets. I mean, for athletes, going to get some number of complimentary tickets, and then be able to pass them out to friends, families, dog walkers, whatever. But then there'll be other ones to purchase. You show up. They have also launched the store, so you can now get your Virginia Inspiration T-shirt.
Link down below for all that.
And things like that. They've talked about wanting to put out athlete jerseys individually. That's not appear to be effective yet, because if it was, I would have like 10 Johnson jerseys. Spectators will be allowed, and as far as COVID rules, they're saying whatever the local community does for COVID rules, which, so we'll have to keep up with that, and as COVID changes.
So transportation, that's another big one. I usually have to deal with that myself. Have to with this going on. They're going to have like a bus shuttle service from the airport to the hotel, and then from the hotel to like the actual meet and everything. So we're going to be taken care of. We don't have to like figure out an Uber and all that stuff. We don't have to deal with that. It's basically taken care of for us. We just basically have to walk in and then walk off the plane, walk into a van or something.
Or
that sounded creepy, like a van that they provide for us, not just a van. So athlete support, this one I thought was pretty cool. They're gonna have like from mental health and all that stuff to like buying a house, which I thought was pretty interesting. They're just 2 varying things. But I think that's good that they're going to have like mental health support, and then like managing money. I think they have spouse stuff on there. Yeah, there's a lot.
Life coaching, marriage counseling.
So with the last thing, I know we talked about transportation. We're going to be talking about like implements and transporting like poles and everything, which this was kind of like a big one for me, because I always have to travel with my implements. I mean, some places have them, which they're going to have them there, but I like using my own. I'm bougie that way. I like having my own things. But he did say that they're partnering with FedEx and they will pick up your implements or poles and ship them to the site. So I don't even have to deal with it. Like once I'm done training, I can have them pick them up at like the school where I'm training at, ship them out to the meet, and I don't even have to worry about carrying a bag of like implements. That is probably like 80 pounds at this point indoor because I have weights in there too. So that was like a huge one for me. I was like, oh, I don't even have to deal with this. I don't have to worry about carrying my Pelican case, stacking it up there, make sure it's not broken, because that has happened.
Several times.
Several times. They were talking about how people's poles get broken, which poles are very expensive. Shots and implements and like weights are very expensive. I've had times where my case is just open and everything is spilled out on the conveyor belt and my case was broken. I have a Pelican case. This is not sponsored. I have a Pelican case, which they're basically indestructible. I have broken 3 of those things since I've had one, which they are very hard to break, but thank you, Chicago Airport. That's why I don't like flying out of Chicago with my stuff. They are just not very helpful. So this is just, it cuts out that. They'll ship them. They don't have to deal with the airport security and everything because they think they're bombs or something.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And like Graham already touched over, there is a merch store that is up. They have the TFL shop and then each individual team. So 4 stores of like that team's jerseys and logos and stuff. We've already looked at it. Graham's probably going to get some stuff. So that's pretty much all the information we got now. Once we get more information at that meet on the 17th, I will bring you, I will vlog it, have everything. Follow me on all the social medias because I will be doing some behind the scenes before I making that video at that time. So Fifi_J247 on all social medias. Follow Graham because he'll be like the outside, he'll be like a normal person looking at this. I'm looking at it through an athlete's eyes. He'll be looking at it through like a spectator's eyes pretty much. So follow him on all his social medias, GD Mildrum, and also follow all the TFL. We're trying to get this going, people. We want this to succeed and work. So go ahead. I'll put all the links down to everything down below. Yeah. Look forward to doing more stuff with the TFL, getting some more information about it. And oh yeah, with all this, I think being said, it's actually starting to feel like I'm a professional athlete again, with things starting to like, I just basically have to show up and compete, which is what I like. I don't have to deal with the logistics and everything. So yeah, I'm really hoping this kicks off, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later days. Peace.